Alright, thanks for tuning in. So in this video, what I'm going to show you is what I did in the bed of this truck. Now, as far as this truck goes in this project, this is probably the toughest part of this project, was the bed of the truck. It had a lot of surface rust over it, and it wasn't really too bad. It was just the method that I chose. Usually, when there's that kind of surface rust, I send out these things to go get dipped and to be able to remove and release that rust from the truck. The customer chose not to do it in this project in particular because he wanted to save that money. Now, normally what I would end up doing in something like this would be either sandblasting, and depending on how bad it is, and depending on the car also, sandblasting might not be a good option because it does warp the steel if you use it on an earlier model car, or if the gauge of the steel is not big enough, and if the person that's sandblasting doesn't know how to do it correctly, it can warp the metal. Now, I chose not to do sandblasting, and the reason that I chose not to do sandblasting is because I absolutely hate it. I hate doing sandblasting. It was a small enough project where it was, I have a minimum amount of sandblasting that needs to be done to get the guys out here to use the big equipment to get it sandblasted. So usually on smaller things like that, like the inside of just one panel, like the bed of this truck, I would have to do it on my own, and really I hate it. The sandblasting gets all over everything, gets inside your clothes, gets in places that I can't even talk about on this video, and it's just very uncomfortable. So I chose to grind it. Now, it wasn't that difficult to get off, but since the bed of this truck, or any truck, has those, you know, all of those curves and all those edges, it made it very difficult to get ready to paint. So, you know, after all of these years and all of these lessons, you know, at the end of the day, it's like always, you know, you just do that little thing that you hate in the beginning. That way you end up saving yourself a lot of grief and a lot of trouble towards the end. And I would have saved myself a lot of grief and a lot of trouble if I would have sandblasted. Saying all of that, I ended up, what you're going to see here is what how I cleaned it up. Basically, I used this electric Ryobi grinder with grinding pads, 24 grit on it first to get all the heavy stuff off. After I did that, I used this little die grinder with another attachment, which I just can't find right now, to be able to use a little 3-inch grinding pads. Once I got all that stuff removed, I went ahead with the DA, and I started from 40 grit, and I worked my way back down to 220. Once that was done, what I ended up doing was I shot etching primer, and this is very important. I spoke about it in a previous video. The etching primer is an acid-based primer, and it allows all of the other materials to bond to it properly, for the job to come out correctly. So once I shot 2 coats of this stuff, I went ahead and I shot the P50. This P50 is a 2K primer. It's from Sherwin. It works great. You could use just about any other, any 2K primer out there if you're trying to do something similar like this. It's just, in this particular project, I went with Sherwin. So once that was done, I ended up doing the bodywork on top of the 2K primer. Now that's important. That's an important step that has to be done if you want to be able to make your work last for years to come. These products, working with these bundles, like to say this Quantum here, or this Icing, it's not designed to go right on top of bare metal. You can use it. I've seen people use it. I've done it. Many body shops out there, most of them do it that way. They just work right on top of bare metal. But really, if you want your stuff to last, for years to come, it's important to do this stuff on top of the 2K primers or sealers or whatever the case might be, so you're not working right straight to steel. That way, this etching primer can really do the work that it's designed to do. So once I did all that body work, I went ahead and I shot another coat of 2K primer on top of the body work. Then I went ahead and I blocked it. I started with 220, worked my way to 400, and got it ready for paint. All right, so that's it. Before I show you the video, I want to just thank you. Thank you so much for all of the feedback, all of the emails, all of the comments. It really keeps me inspired to do this. Make sure to like this video. It's very important. And that's it. Thanks a lot, and I'm going to show you the fast motion video now. See you guys next time.